Welcome to Success Beyond Bars, our video series sponsored by Coke Industries. In our series, we feature a number of entrepreneurs who were formerly incarcerated but have changed their lives and now have developed impactful and innovative ventures. Today, we have Frederick Hutson, the founder and CEO of Pigeonly. And what Pigeonly has created a support system using a unique tech platform, and we're going to talk to Frederick today about how he started it and how he helps inmates connect with their loved ones and move their financial lives forward. Frederick, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So Pigeonly, it's a fascinating concept. We're going to get to that in a minute, but I want you to share your journey. You've been an entrepreneur, it seems like from birth, in terms of researching your background. But your entrepreneurial drive, let's say, led you to incarceration as well. So please share with us your story and how you've taken your entrepreneurial prowess, how it led to you going astray, and then we will talk about how you use that opportunity to create Pigeonly.
Sure. So I started the company back in 2013, and it was really birthed out of my own personal experience. After serving 5 years in federal prison for distribution of marijuana, I saw that there's this huge population of people that no one's paying attention to, and it was always very difficult and expensive for us to stay connected. And that's where the genesis of the whole idea. Business has always been something I've always been interested in.
So you started first with photo pigeon, is that correct?
Yeah, so when we first started, our only ambition and my only ambition at the time was I wanted to make it real easy for people to get photos, right? So that was a big demand item, and it was very difficult if your loved one had to go to the post office or they had to go to Walgreens and print it out and then mail it off, who walks around with the stamp nowadays, right? So with all of us living in this digital time, it's very difficult to communicate and interface with someone who lives in a completely analog world. And for the most part, most people who are incarcerated, they do live in a fully analog world.
What's fascinating is that you started the business with very little technical knowledge.
Right.
You built the website, and now you're in Silicon Valley, part of an accelerator.
So the way all that came together is once we had our first version online, we started getting our first customers, we actually had something that was starting to work. And then we realized that, okay, we're gonna need to raise capital to try to grow this. So we got the first amount of money just from the people around me. So guys I knew from the streets, friends and family. We would get $500 here, $200 here, $1,000 here. So it was very small amounts of money just to kind of get to the next step.
So how heady was it to gain the financing from some of the most prominent Silicon Valley venture capitalists, in the nation? I mean, these are the people who have taken bets on some of the iconic companies. Did they view your company as becoming, going into that pantheon of the other iconic companies in the world? I think
the real thing when you're early stage and you're raising capital, for most part, the investors are betting on you as an individual to figure it out because they know the business is going to develop, the business is going to change. I mean, when we started the company, we first started with the photo product, then we built the phone product, which is a completely different thing. So the phone product basically allows people to save money on expensive prison phone calls. So it basically allows a family member to have a low-cost number to be reached on.
What is the price or the cost of a call to someone who's incarcerated versus the cost of a call if they use Pigeonly?
Yeah, it's a big difference. So for example, in federal prison, 300 minutes costs you $70, and that you're allowed to speak 300 minutes a month. Those 300 minutes cost you about $70. With our service, those same 300 minutes cost you $18, which is the cheapest it can be. So it's still expensive, but it's the cheapest it can be.
And you've made the point that recidivism comes about in large part due to the fact that you're not connected to your loved ones, you're not connected to society.
Yeah, there's over 40 years of research that support that communication is probably one of the single largest impacting factors, along with education, that drives the recidivism, or that can lower recidivism. Right now, recidivism about 60%. So, you know, and when you think about it, the common sense, it makes sense, right? So, you know, if someone is isolated and lose track of the same person that's going to have to help them find that first job, that's going to give them that couch to sleep on when they're released, if you lose track and you can't stay connected with those folks over your 5, 6, 7, 10-year bid, you know, it's going to be really, really challenging for you to have a successful reintegration to society. So a significant part of our population and of our user base are unbanked. I would say about 30% of our user base now are unbanked, where they're using prepaid debit or credit cards. So one of the things that we did early on that's worked out well for us is that we built a wallet component into the app so that people can load funds into a Pigeonly wallet and then use that to pay for their services, so they don't always have to go and get a prepaid card every time it's time to pay their monthly subscription or every time they want to buy something.
So how did you go about building the infrastructure for Pigeonly? You know, I imagine you had to you know, eventually bring on engineers, you know, customer service component, and also what is the culture of Pigeonly?
Yeah, so I'll start with how we kind of built it, and then I'll go into the culture. So right now we have 4 full-time engineers, and the way we really structured, you know, a lot of our infrastructure, our core IP is we have the only nationwide private inmate locator service. So basically what that means is that one of the things that we invested in over the past couple of years is developing a database that can track and identify who's in prison and where. Our culture is really focused on being very, how do I put it, very blunt and very direct. So, you know, my leadership style is, you know, we'll identify what we want to accomplish, and you have the flexibility and the freedom to figure out how you want to accomplish that, as long as you deliver results. So I'm a very results-oriented person.
What is your plans for Pigeonly?
Going forward, we're putting a lot of time and energy into the data component. So that's one of the things that we're really highly focused on. We see that one of the ways to make a lasting impact in the criminal justice system is to really open up this black box that the criminal justice system operates in. And it operates that way because no one really knows what the hell's going on in the system, right? So no one knows how many people's in jail right now. No one knows is if I'm an African American, and is my bond going to be 20%, or my bail amount going to be 20 or 30% higher than someone else who has that same exact crime, same exact location? No one really has the data to see any of that. So one of the things that we've done since we've started collecting data to see who's in prison, we're also expanding that to 13 million people so that's arrested every year, to really see and have a clear picture of what's going on in the criminal justice system, so that other companies can build innovative products and services on top of it, in addition to ours.
Well, thank you, Frederick. It's been great talking to you, and we wish you continued success.